y'all, so I was supposed to report back to you all on my birthday, July 21st, and I did not only because I was busy traveling, but because I did not meet my weight loss goal by my birthday, which was 200 pounds down from my highest weight ever. Let me turn this down. Which is 200 pounds down from my highest weight ever. So I did not meet that goal, and I will not be telling you how many pounds down I am in over 2 years of the gastric sleeve until I'm 200 pounds down from my highest weight ever. Now, 200 pounds down from my highest weight ever is not my overall weight goal. So my overall weight goal is about 190. I'm 5'6", and 190 is gonna look good on me. I don't think I am built to be a thin girl or a petite girl, so 190 is good. It's gonna look good on me. And actually, I'd probably look rather thin at 190. So with that being said, let's get into the trips. Now I know I promised to upload some vacation videos. I just haven't had a chance to do that. It's the year of Fortylicious. You all know that, and I've been traveling crazy. I have 4 trips left, and after this, I'm just gonna have re-save and start restacking just for the next set of goals. Next year's trips are already planned out. I've already started paying for next year's trips, but it's only gonna be 2 trips next year, and it's gonna be 2 international trips. So it's the Year of Fortylicious, and you know the Year of Fortylicious has 2 subsidiaries. 40 by 40, which is my completing 40 visited states this year. So I'll be visiting a city in each state, and by this year I should have completed 40. Okay, so right now I think I'm at 32, so I have 8 more to go. And then there was awesome 40th was my 40th birthday celebration, and it was the bomb. It was the bomb. So it started off in Atlanta, Georgia. So Atlanta, Georgia, that was a pop-up trip. Those are funds I used from my graduation. And yes, I did graduate with my master's in management from DePaul University. So I graduated June 10th, and I used some of those graduation funds to just do a pop-up trip to Atlanta. So it was a very cheap pop-up trip, $200 for flight and lodging. You all know, like, I will get on public transportation in a minute, so I didn't do a lot of Uber in there. I used the public transportation system. I think it was like $2 or $3 for an all-day pass, and it was a great trip. So I went there and went to the Martin Luther King Center, which was celebrating its 50th founding anniversary. And then I went to Atlanta Botanical Gardens, which was so beautiful. They have this this exhibit called Imaginary Worlds, and it is like these beautiful sculptures made of shrubs and greenery and grass and plants, and it is the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen. So it's also a good place you can go and reflect and just, you know, really appreciate God's beauty and just really again, meditate, reflect, and just think about some things. So I did take the opportunity to do that. So after that trip, came back home, rested a few days, then went back out to Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, I had never been to Charlotte, North Carolina, believe it or not. I had passed through on a layover, but I never left the airport. So yeah, about 10 years ago, passed through on a layover, never left the airport. You cannot count that as visited. When you don't leave the airport, you haven't visited. And some people believe, like, well, you haven't visited if you haven't spent the week there and experienced the culture. It all depends on your own personal perspective. And so mine is that if you've gone out and visited and experienced some of the culture, you have visited that state. So in North Carolina, went to the Jill Scott concert. I love Jill Scott. She's my favorite R&B artist. Went to that concert and then went to a day party on the 4th of July. Yes, I was there during the 4th of July and just had some fun in Charlotte. And I'll be posting some videos. I promise this time, it may not be right away, but maybe, you know, maybe by the time I give you all my 200-pound loss update, I'll have that video ready of all like this year's trips so far. Maybe I will wait and do a Year of Fortylicious video compilation of Ethiopia, Egypt, you know, my stops in Germany, my stop in Switzerland, and I went to Kansas as well this year. I went to Cancun this year, and then you know, my awesome 40th with those 5 trips, and maybe I'll just do a compilation. But anyway, getting back to awesome 40th, went to North Carolina, came back home. Well, actually, between North Carolina and Atlanta was Wisconsin Dells. So my sister, nieces, and I went to Wisconsin Dells, and when I tell you that getting in that water and experiencing that water was definitely a treat, given the heat in Atlanta and Charlotte. You know, I'm being honest with you. The heat index there was something else. And in Atlanta, it was so hot and I did so much walking. When I came back, I lost 3 pounds. So I always appreciate being able to tour and coming home not gaining weight. I always appreciate being able to vacation and experience foods and not being able to gain weight. So speaking of foods, I did go to Old Lady Gang. I liked that they have these fried devil eggs, which is pretty good, or which was, sorry, pretty good. And then they have this honey glazed salmon that was good as well. I didn't get a chance to go to Greens and Gravy. That was definitely on my list, but I am going back to Atlanta in September, so I am going to be experiencing Greens and Gravy. So Atlanta, then there was Wisconsin Dells, and then Charlotte. After Charlotte, I essentially took a 10-day break before heading to Australia. I really love this experience. It's the best idea I've had yet as far as celebrations and ways to celebrate. And there was a 9-hour layover, so I had to fly to San Francisco. I'm talking too fast, so I'm stumbling over words. And I've been in Toastmasters, so I know better. But anyway, there was a 9-hour layover in San Francisco, and I took advantage of it. I rented a car. I drove to Napa Valley. I wasn't going to go to San Francisco without visiting like the woods and the Golden Gate Bridge, and I didn't get a chance to visit the woods, just the wood area, and just driving up those hills and stuff. I never got a chance to, my time was so limited, and that's one thing I have to work on, packing this schedule together as to where I don't allow enough time. However, I would have made my schedule had I not had difficulty finding this like parking area for, I think it's called the Muir Woods, M-U-I-R. So I didn't get a chance to do that, but I did the Golden Gate Bridge visit, and then I drove to Napa Valley. Went to Napa Valley, went to Brown Estates, which is a Black-owned winery. It used to be the only Black-owned. It is the first Black-owned winery in Napa Valley, but now it's the second. It's the first of 2. So there's a second Black-owned winery there now. I think it's called J. Moss Winery. But anyway, I went to Brown Estate and really enjoyed that experience. It was definitely a great way to further celebrate my 40th. Very classy experience. Had wine, I did a wine tasting, 4 different wines. Loved that. And had a cheese plate. So again, very classy, very nice experience, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So from San Francisco was then Australia. 14-hour flight from San Francisco to Australia. So overall from Chicago was 18 hours. So got there, and I had booked my stay at Four Seasons Sydney, and I have to say, you guys, like, all of this was saved and paid for well in advance, because you have to do that. I can't travel off the cuff. Like, we'll definitely go broke and just be out down and out. You know, the majority of us are already living a paycheck to paycheck, but yeah, I can't be that spontaneous, or, you know, I have to plan 1 to 2 years in advance, especially if it's something that I really want to do, a place that I really want to stay. I want to be stalking those prices. It's probably a bad word. I want to be watching those prices like a hawk, and just, you know, waiting, have my money ready so that when a good deal comes about, I have my money. And so I did the Four Seasons Sydney, and it was off season too, so that makes it even cheaper, because the time I went is off season for Australia, Sydney, Australia. So went there, stay was lovely, loved the way I was treated, and they noticed that I was celebrating a birthday that week. You know how they take your ID when you check in, and they saw like, oh, okay, she's celebrating a birthday. Obviously, very attentive, very detailed, and those type of places are paid very well to do those type of things. And when I came back from my first day activities, they had a beautiful cake waiting for me. Like, it was like a chocolate strawberry cake, and it was like, wow, you know, that really made my day. So my first day of activities there was just a big bus tour, and I didn't spend, in my opinion, I didn't spend a lot of money on tours. I normally just pack my schedule with a lot of tours, but I had to watch my spending, yet still enjoy my stay there. So I had an activity plan for each day, and it worked out well. So I did Big Bus Sydney, so I just did the tour, you know, around the city, but then I got off at the Sydney Tower Eye and went up to the Eye, and to see, you know, for the Chicagoans, it's basically their rendition of our Willis Tower. So I did that, and you know, just walked around and, you know, toured. That morning though, when I landed, I started with breakfast. So when I landed, I didn't have time to catch up on any sleep. Unlike when I went to Ethiopia, I didn't have time to catch up on any sleep. I landed, I put my things up, and I hit the ground running. I went to this place called Pancakes on the Rock, which is highly recommended by members of this Facebook travel group that I'm a part of, called Black Travel Movement. I went to Pancakes on the Rocks and had these Nutella pancakes. Oh my goodness, they were so good. And it was like, okay, I know I'm gonna pay for this, but I had to have those pancakes, and I did have them, and they were delicious. So I had those Nutella pancakes, and that's pretty much how I started my day, you know, and then did the big bus tours. And so day 2 was shoot, I can't remember. Day 2 was the Aquarium, if I'm not mistaken. So that was a good experience. They have an underground, you know, access where you can see the sharks and stingrays from below. And again, that was a good experience. I did the Aquarium via the ferries. Now, when you go to Sydney, the big bus tour, getting around via big bus tour, that was fine and all. But getting around via ferries, I highly recommend, because it's like they have these different stops as well, like the big bus tour does. But I love water, so you all know that's why I'm recommending getting around via ferry. So that was the second day, the Aquarium, and I did the fish market. So Sydney has a you know, of course, it's surrounded by water, so I ate a lot of seafood, a lot of fresh seafood, a lot of seafood that tasted totally different from the seafood I have here. And again, it's because it's just totally fresh, and you know, things of that nature. So I had salmon. Salmon is my favorite, and a lobster tail from one of the shops in the fish market. So day 2, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I'm not going to bore you all with all of the details. I want to tell you all that they have a local UGG store there, and be aware, be careful, because it's not the global brand as we know it. It is local, and they have the UGG stamp at the back. And if you don't know an UGG shoe or what to look for, you will buy them thinking they're UGG boots, but they're really not. They're their rendition of UGG boots, or what they consider UGG boots, but they're not UGG boots as we know it as the global brand. So getting on. So, day 3 was whale watching. I bought a Groupon for a whale watching experience with the company. It's actually gowhaleWatching.au.com. So, did that for 4 hours. That took a big chunk of my day. Did that for about 4 hours. Went into the middle of the ocean and just saw the beauty of whales migrating back to the north. So the secret is to see them more often or have them come closer to the boat is make noise. Just like any animal, like they're curious, what is this noise? Let me go see what this is. So we got a chance to see a bunch of whales fairly close, just by making noise and clapping and yelling and things like that. So whales are a mammal. They have lungs, so they come up every 6 to 8 hours for air. So again, we were able to see a bunch of them. So that was a very great experience, day 3. I think day 3, trying to like include my cuisine and what I ate a lot of fish, that's for sure. And there is a restaurant called Doyle's that is right off of the bay and one of the ferry stops, and it had some great tempura battered fish and shrimp. It kind of reminds you of Long John Silver's, but just a way fresher version. So I ate at Doyle's at least twice during my stay. And my stay there was 5 days. So I was on vacation for a week with the flight time and everything. My stay in Sydney was 5 days. So went back to the hotel, of course, after that. And at the hotel, they have a grain bar, or a bar called the Grain Bar. And at the Grain Bar, they have this drink called Bananas. And it was so good. So whenever you go to Sydney, if you stay at Four Seasons, have you a Bananas. And I'm going to post that video and recipe along with this video as well. Again, as far as like all this year's vacations, I think I'm going to go ahead and do a compilation video that would like serve you best if you have time to sit and watch it, instead of just like posting different videos, 3 or 4 videos with different vacations. So day 4 was Taronga Zoo. So let me tell you this story. When I was picked up at the airport to take, on my way to the hotel, from the airport to the hotel, I got this shuttle driver, who was well versed in all things Sydney, or so I thought. And he told me to go to Federdale Wildlife Zoo because I was interested in holding an animal. I wanted to hold a koala. I wanted to hold, anything I can hold safely, I wanted to hold. So he told me, oh, you have to go to Federdale Wildlife Park. It's about 40 minutes away from here, blah, blah. And every time he described an animal or showed me pictures of his last visit with an animal, he'd say, oh yeah, but if he's agitated, he'll cut you he'll cut you to shreds, or he'll bite your hand off. And it's like, okay. And after a while, I started wondering, why is he telling me to go to Federdale Wildlife Park, knowing I want to hold animals, but then saying like, this animal can cut me to shreds or bite my hand off. In any event, I ended up going to Taronga Zoo, and that was included in my 3-day ferry pass. So before I went, everything is almost always paid for, except for like my food and if I decide to buy souvenirs or do a little shopping. So I did the big bus tours. I didn't get a chance to do Blue Mountains. I didn't have enough time, and I really wish I would have done that. But I did the big bus tours, did that for 1 day. And I also bought a 3-day pass for the ferry rides that included a visit to Taronga Zoo. And then I bought like another excursion that included 2 attractions. And that's what filled my week. So Taronga Zoo, I got to, I paid extra for a koala encounter, and it was like $20 extra. And I did a koala encounter, and so you can't hold or touch the koala, but you can get up as close to the koala as possible. So I did that. So I was paired with a koala, and the koala's name happened to be Kamira. And I just thought that was so, like, such a revelation, because my oldest niece name is Kamira, and she had really been on my mind very heavily that entire week. And so I was paired with Kamira, and that is not an average name. So that was a great experience, and that ended day 4 for me. Day 5 in Sydney was my birthday. So I left Sydney without visiting Blue Mountains, but I was definitely not gonna leave Sydney without visiting the Opera House. So I caught Aida at the Opera House, and it was such a wonderful performance. And of course, it's the Opera House, you can't record, but wow, if you're into the arts, if you love music, if you love singing, it was such a wonderful performance. And that was like a 3-hour performance. After that, I did dinner at the Chop House Sydney. I had beef short ribs. Great, you know, awesome dinner, awesome ambiance. I did inform them in my reservation that it was my birthday, so they had a complimentary champagne and complimentary birthday dessert for me. And I just thought, like, wow, this is the icing on the cake. What a way to end my last night here. In the process, excuse me, I ended up going, one of those nights, I ended up doing happy hour at the Morrison Oyster Bar. It's right down the street from, like, maybe about 2 blocks from the Opera, I'm sorry, from the Four Seasons Sydney. Everything, like, I pretty much stayed in the vicinity of the hotel. You know, nothing was too far away from the hotel, and that made me comfortable. And it was also cost effective. So went to the bar, tried oysters for the very first time. I won't say I would eat them all the time, maybe every once in a while, but I tried oysters for the very first time. So that is something else I thought would be great to add, or, you know, to let you guys know I experienced doing this trip. So overall, great experience, and I would definitely go back after Brazil. Brazil is going to be March. Brazil, that hotel, that flight is already booked. Definitely going to Brazil. And Antarctica, I have to work my nerves up for that one. So I may have to circle back to Europe and like visit Rome, Italy first, and then circle back to Asia and visit Japan first, and then circle back to Africa to visit Ghana first before I go to Antarctica. I may have to circle back the 5 continents at least once before I have enough nerves to go to Antarctica. So that was Sydney. That was my awesome 40th. AUSOM. Of course, y'all know I'm a creative genius. So that was my awesome 40th. Came home, rested a day, left back out, and my sister and I were on the run too. On the run, TOO. We went to see Jay-Z and Beyonce kick off their North American leg of the On the Run 2 tour. Loved it. That's going to be a separate video in itself. Loved On the Run tour with Beyonce and Jay-Z. Just love her energy. I've always loved, you know, her performances since the first performance, and said, like, I haven't missed a concert since I saw her in Minnesota. I think it was like 2013. I haven't missed a concert since. She's a performer. She's a great performer, and I've never seen a Prince, a performing person. I've never seen Michael Jackson perform in person, and those were very, you know, good entertainers, or great entertainers of my time. So it's like, I'm not gonna miss Beyonce, and I haven't been missing her since 2013. So DJ Khaled, well, first Beyonce's, you know, she has this girl group, I believe they're Holly and Chloe, I believe that's their name. They opened up, and then DJ Khaled came out, got the crowd hyped, just playing all his music, all the jams, and then they came out and put on a performance of life. They did not do any new music from their latest album until the end, And even then, it was just like a snippet or, short snippet of their song, one of, their feature song. So my guess is that they are going to do a Everything Is Love tour, and they're going to keep on taking our money, and they're going to keep making money off of us. That's what's going to happen. So that's why it was so strategic that this On the Run 2 tour came about, which a lot of material is repeated. You're going to see that. A lot of material from Formation and On the Run 2, and probably, the original On the Run 1, and probably from the 444 tour is repeated. But hey, they had the stadium rocking, and it was like, I was still into it. So, very good show. Came back home. My nieces love the show Bring It Live. Bring It. And Bring It Live was on tour. So we used to watch this show every weekend, like all day. So we went to see Bring It at Chicago Theater, and I ended my 40th birthday festivities with Chris Brown's concert. So I had a wonderful time. Again, didn't meet my weight goal. However, I'm still on track, and I still have a plan to meet that weight goal by the end of this year. So steady progress, and just being realistic about some things. And I ate good, I ate good while I was vacationing. I didn't neglect myself, but I still was at all times, I still was very cognizant of what I was consuming, making sure that, if I had some fried fish, making sure there's some greens on the plate. So I'm at a stage where I'm still like, very cognizant of what I'm consuming, even while having fun. So it's been, a great birthday, just a great journey, period, and just looking for my life to just expand and elevate in other areas in life. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to circle back probably at the end of this year. By the time I plan to hit the goal, I'm going to circle back at the end of this year. Somebody's out here driving like a fool. I'm going to circle back at the end of this year. I have next, I'm going to Portland and Seattle. So those will be states 34 and 36. And then September, going to Vegas. End of September, going back to Atlanta, celebrating a friend's birthday, and then got an invite from the owner of Greens and Gravy for a barbecue at his house. So it's like, hey, I'm gonna go. And then I'm closing out this year with a New England road trip that will solidify 40 states by the age of 40. 40 states spitting during the Year of Fortylicious, and that'll close that out. That'll simmer me all the way down. That'll make 12 trips this year. And so I will always remember the year I turned 40. Then it's back to 2 to 3 trips a year. And hey, that's it, great experience. And again, I'll circle back with you guys at the end of the year about my weight loss progress and just toning up, shaping up. Tonight I'm going to a fitness class outside of my regular fitness class, and it's more based on toning versus cardio. So I'm going to enjoy that, and I'm looking forward to that. And I will talk to you all next time.